Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. For this video, I'm going to show you how to make a buhurt legal mace that's legal in both Buhurt League and the IMCF. And what we're going to be using to do that is an old lawnmower blade. And we're going to take it to the forge too, so I'll show you how to flatten it, heat treat it, and all that. Then we're going to be using a piece of 1-inch black iron pipe as the collar. And then as an added bonus, I'm going to be throwing in how to use a Marshall's tool. This is your pretty basic Marshall's tool. It does your important curves. But that way, you can make sure that you have a legal edge and a legal striking curve on your mace. So that way, there's absolutely zero questions that you can use it in actual steel fighting combat. So let's get down to it. So what we've done with our mower blade is that we've taken it to the angle grinder to take most of the rust off. The reason we take the rust off is so we don't hammer in any of those impurities when we go to flatten this thing at the anvil. So what we want is the middle section, because that's the least amount of work involved. And that'll give us enough stock to give us our 6 pieces to make our 6 flanges for the mace head.
Now we got it cleaned and marked out. We're going to take our piece of 1-inch pipe and we're going to cut it to the same height as the lawnmower blade. Let's put the back of the teeth right to it.
So guys, now that we've taken it to the anvil, we've managed to flatten the middle section and remove the 2 factory raised ridges on either side that help keep this thing in shape. It'll give us a true flat shape for us to begin cutting out each flange for this mace. So now with that, this thing's ready for the next step, where we take a torch to it, burn off this extra oil, and then wipe it down with some brake clean. Take all the extra oils off that we might have messed with the torch. And then we can begin using our Marshall's tool to start marking out the flanges so that we can cut them out, grind them, and get them ready to weld onto the neck.
So we've cut out the flanges. Let's weigh them. Put them on the scale here. Added a little reference mark to them just in case. But checking the weight, it's at 1 pound 4 ounces. I want to bring that weight down a little bit because that's kind of heavy for what we're building. We're going to take this 1/4 inch off of each flange. So now we've cut them, let's weigh them again. 3/4 pound. We're going to add the collar for the mace. 1 pound 12 ounces. Perfect.
That's much better.
Now that we've got our collar, we've scored it with a grinder, getting it ready so we can weld all of the flanges to the collar.
Alright guys, so those flanges that we just made out of the lawnmower blade are now welded onto that piece of pipe. And all around, this thing is about 1 1/4 pounds so far. So this makes up the majority of the finished weight of the mace. Now, maces in our sport have to be either 1,000 grams, or the other measurement I believe is 2.2 pounds if you'd like to use freedom fractions like the rest of us. So what we're going to do to make up that lightweight is we're going to take this piece of closet dowel here, and then we're going to use this to make the finished handle on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to sand that down to reach the same 3/4 diameter of the mace shaft. It's going to be hammered down onto it. Once hammered on, it's going to have 2 holes driven into it to create the 2 pins that are going to hold this in place. Because of how these are used, the heads can tend to fly off. So we want to prevent that from happening. That way this is legal to use in a fight. 3, 2, 1. Okay guys, we got the mace head all welded up. we took the wood and we sanded it down to meet the inside diameter of the pipe piece that we use as our collar, and we hammered it down. The only thing that remains to be done with this is to have the hole drilled into it after it's been painted, and then have its pin put in. But what we're going to do first is we're going to take the neck of the mace right here. We're going to do what we did to this, which is wrap it in jute twine and then some hockey tape. We're going to use 2 different colors. The heraldry of the person getting this mace's colors are black and yellow, so we're going to use that to make kind of like a construction stripe chevron pattern down here. And then we're going to measure it out, cut it at 20 inches. I'm going to use my gauntlet there as a spacer, so that way we can kind of figure out like the width of the grip, because his gauntlet size is the same as mine. And once that's figured out, we're going to sand down that area between the 2 marks to about half. This is about a 1-inch dowel, so about 3/4 of an inch. So, and then that'll sit flush once the grip tape is applied. And once that's all done, it can be waxed and all that stuff, making the haft not splinter quite as readily. But then we'll have a completed mace, and it's going to be ready for its new owner. And I'll show you how to do all that. So take a tape measure, go to the top, down to 20 inches. Mark it there. And we got our mark right here. Take my saw. There we go, just one, two. Cut this. Hold on. Don't know why I didn't just do that before.
That's at this point now that we're going to wrap the neck of the mace in some jute twine to give it a little bit of protection and something for you to grab when you want to choke up on it. We're going to do about 2 layers of twine. Then we're going to wrap it in hockey tape. Now that the mace handle is wrapped, I'm going to take one of my gauntlets right here. And me and my guy got about the same size hands, so this gauntlet should work. What we're going to do, take a little Sharpie here, get that uncapped, put the gauntlet on, and then hold the mace right about where I want the handle to be. Measure out for the width of the gauntlet by tracing it like so, for us to take to the sander and grind down so we can put the grip on.
Now sand in there, bring it down small diameter so it's comfier to grab. Alright guys, we got it painted, pattern taped, grip taped. We're going to trim this down a little bit more. And then we're going to take the drill press over there. We're going to punch a hole in the side of the collar here. We're not going to go all the way through, because what we're going to end up doing is taking a sheet metal screw, about 3/4 of an inch, and running it right through the side. It's got a nice domed head on it, so that way it's not going to be sharp, not going to be jagged, not going to get caught when you swing at anyone, or if you hit anyone. But it'll stay in there, it'll be solid, and it'll prevent the head from flying off. So that'll be the next step for this, and then the mace is done.
Now that we got our hole punched, we're going to take a panhead metal screw here, stick it in the hole, then we're just going to screw that in all the way through so it has a nice solid hold. And just like that, the mace is now secured to the handle.
Okay guys, now that we've got the retention screw stuck into the mace head, into the shaft, keep it from sliding off, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go outside and we're going to test this thing on this here hound skull helmet that I have sitting around. It's supposed to simulate what we're going to be striking in armored combat. It's not rated for armored combat, but it is, however, rated for SCA. So it's still pretty durable. The objective is to make sure that we can dent it without breaking a flange off the mace and without breaking the mace handle. So without further ado, let's go outside and give this thing a whack.
We're going to do our first test swing, which is going to be from the horizontal. And then our second test, which will be down on the face from the vertical.
So here we got our horizontal swing right there. It's connected in there. And here we got our downward vertical swing right on the faceplate. Two of the flanges caught there. But this helmet's only 1mm galvanized steel, so it's not very thick, it's not very durable, so these results might be a little exaggerated, but still pretty impressive nonetheless. And it passed the test. So now it's ready for service.